The first step towards dimensioning is turning on your rulers. So it's Control or Command R and dragging from the ruler guides to all the key positions that need to be dimensioned, including lengths of walls and any opening. Even though we are designing only one unit amongst many in this large apartment block, we follow the same guidelines as would be used for the whole building. Here, pause the video to read information about each level of line. Dimension endpoints are 2 mm long. Work in the transform tool to get exact measurements. Once you've got your 2 mm, copy and paste, or copy and paste in front, which is Command F or Control F. Then rotate holding the Shift key to 45 degrees, and those two lines will be aligned perfectly. You can group those two lines, the 45 and the 90, so you can use them again and again. You will also need a standalone 45-degree line at 2 mm to be used at either end of dimension lines. Dimension lines will be 0.1 of a millimeter. Work with smart guides as you draw your projection lines. As you draw, an alignment line will be displayed. Sometimes you get an annotation about whether you're intersecting with another line. We can proceed with dimension lines once you've completed the projection lines. Make sure your projection lines aren't touching the walls. As you stretch out a line, make sure you hold the Shift key so as that line will be straight at 90 degrees or 0. You can make a second line by copying and pasting in front, then drag it into position. You can start now dragging your endpoints into the location indicated by your guides. Time for the measurements. Now you'll need to work at a very small font point size because we're going to eventually double the size of this 1:100 to 1:50. So whatever you do now, it's going to be doubling the size. So work in 5 point. Ordinarily, you can get a dimension by just selecting an object in Illustrator, but because our symbols are a little complicated, we will use a rectangle stretched over a particular detail, and that will give us in the transform tool the exact size. Just round it off. We can drag this dimensioning box wherever we need to take a measurement of any detail and just change its size, get a reading from the transform box, and away we go. Once you've dimensioned all the details, make sure all the numbers are aligned, that they all share the same alignment. They're not up and down unless they do not fit in that space, like the 300 for here, for example, doesn't quite fit. So you have it a little higher than the others. Also make sure that the projection lines are aligned with the endpoints. Trim them as necessary. Time now to bring this drawing home. We're going to change its scale. It's at the moment 1:100. We are now going to make a drawing 1:50. Make sure all the layers are unlocked, then hit Command A, select everything, make a new artboard, then paste it to that new artboard. So we're going to enlarge this using the Object Transform tool, making sure that the scale stroke box is checked, and we're going to increase its size by 200%. And here's what the two scales look like side by side. All there is left to do now is to create our title block. Refer to the VICO advice on technical drawing concerning the types of lines to use in the title block and the kinds of information to include within it. Your title block should take up the bottom right corner, and use a separate layer for the lines and a separate layer for the information. They'll make life easier when you lock one as you work with the other.